Hey, this is Christian, and today I want to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes beginner developers make that prevent them from getting their first dev job. So let's get started. Please watch until the end because I'm gonna share with you a lot of value bombs, if you may, things that people are not really discussing in this space, okay? So the first mistake is that people are not using Git properly, okay? And they start using Git way too early when they are not ready. They are adding extra complexity to their projects, if they build any, which I'm gonna get into in a bit. But they don't know how to use it properly. They use it like Dropbox. And I know this because even in my first year as a junior developer, I didn't know how to use it properly. I just did Git add, Git commit, Git push, or I was creating a branch and then I was adding, committing, and pushing from that branch. And you might wonder, okay, but what's the right way to use it? Well, if you watch the interview with Jason, you would see that an important aspect of using Git is opening pull requests, okay? Opening a pull request and having someone else read your code and reviewing it and making sure that it doesn't only work, but it's written in a nice way, in such a way that other people can understand it, okay? So that's very important. And another thing regarding Git is to have meaningful commit messages. You have to explain what you're doing with the code that you're about to push, okay? Because people cannot read your mind and you need to provide some context to the person that's gonna review your code, okay? And probably I'm guilty of this as well right now. I'm not really providing insightful messages in my commits because I have a system in Jira and everything that's gonna assign my commit to a task, so people can actually search by a code and then see what I'm actually doing. But if you are by yourself, you need to do your best to describe the work that you just finished, okay? It's super important. And this ties down to a question that you'll be getting in your interview. And that question is called, have you worked in a team before? When a developer is asking you, have you worked in a team before, they don't really care about you actually working in a team, but knowing how to work in a team. And if you don't know how to use Git properly, that means you'll be struggling to adapt into a team-like environment, okay? So that's the first thing. Then the next mistake I see is that people are spending way too much time, too many days, too many months, too many years in this desperation zone where they don't really know what they have to do. So they go into React, then they figure out that, oh, I know React, I'm confident. They try to build something with it, they cannot, so they go back to JavaScript and they have like this loop of desperation. Is like the crepuscular zone, I think that's how it's called. And this cycle lasts for years and years, months and years, okay? And this is because you don't have a vision of where you need to go. And I read this quote in a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he gave an interesting analogy. He said that if you want to go from LA to New York with a plane, if you have a 5% deviation from the trajectory, you as a passenger, you might not even feel that deviation of 5 degrees, but you'll end up in Washington DC. So that's why you kind of need a vision of where you need to go and of the things that you have to be doing every single day to help you get where you need to get, okay? And the last thing is that the projects that you are building are very simple usually. So I see people building to-do apps with Redux. I see people building like the Netflix clone. I see people building the weather app. I see people creating like front-end and back-end apps, so full stack applications with a login feature. And yeah, that might be cool to start with, but there is no complexity in there. There is a lot of exposure to a lot of technologies. Yes, I agree. You know front-end, you know back-end, you know database, you know React, you know Redux, maybe you know TypeScript, but you don't have enough experience working with the same app over and over for a few months to actually understand the whole process of building an application. And that's gonna bring you the job, right? Experience, not exposure. So you need to start to make the differentiation between these two things, okay? So how can you get experience? How can you get experience and how can you overcome these struggles? Well, as I said, you need a plan, okay? So if I would be you, I would take 3 days off from coding and I would really think about what has to be done, okay? What are the apps that you need to build to get you where you wanna get? You need to plan ahead. We as developers, yes, we write code, but we also think about the things that we want to code before we start writing code, okay? You don't even need to know a programming language to be a developer, okay? You need to be a problem solver. So if you become a problem solver, finding the house, aka the code that you need to write, is gonna be easy. Or not easy, but simple, because you know what you have to search, you know what you need to find to help you get where you wanna get, okay? So change this mindset and overcome these mistakes. Learn how to work with Git. Get out of this desperation zone where you have like months and months of going between JavaScript and React, JavaScript and React, JavaScript and React, and start building real world projects, okay? That will bring you that experience. So aim and plan to work on a project for at least 3 months, 6 months, or something like that. And that's gonna take your skills to the next level. Working on the same thing until you get bored of it, this is what's gonna make you a developer. Because guess what? When you get your first dev job, you'll probably work on the same project for a year, for 2 years. You'll absolutely hate that project, but you'll know it front to back, if that makes sense. That project is gonna become very, very familiar to you. That's what you want. That's gonna make you a good developer. Clean code, again, don't write spaghetti code. No one wants to hire someone that writes spaghetti code. Literally, the way you're writing your code is gonna make the difference between you making 50 grand a year and you making 100 grand a year, okay? It's such a big difference, and you have to internalize these ideas. So when you open your code editor and you think about writing code, have these things in the back of your head. The way you are pushing your code, your commit messages, all these things matter. They are very small and very subtle, but you know, the devil is in the details, right? So that's it, that's my rant for today. I'm about to go to this shopping mall, to a coffee shop, and I had this idea in my mind. And if you wanna work with me directly, what you have to do is you have to apply for a free consultation call. There is a link somewhere here in the description of this video. Apply. It's gonna be either me or someone from my team taking that call, and we'll have a chat on Zoom. We'll see if I can actually help you achieve your goals, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Cheers.